Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today Warhammer Community is giving us a few articles about terrain and exactly what it is they do, and they've done a similar thing to 40k. It seems that now we're going to be given terrain and we're going to be given some keywords, and we apply those keywords to that piece of terrain and even in some cases certain points on the terrain. In the past, I would typically say that just reading an article verbatim to you is lazy. However, because this is just a very wordy article, I'm going to read it to you, help you understand, and then possibly give you a few examples at the end. So let's start with bring an orc scrap town to life with the terrain in Kill Team Octarius. Kill Team Octarius will be here soon, and a lot of attention has to be paid to the gobsmacking orc commandos and Death Core Creep models, and with good reason. A lot of hobbyists, however, will find the orc themed terrain an irresistible addition to their gaming setup. Let's take a closer look, shall we? We're just getting through it, don't worry. This actually gets a little bit complex. Well, not complex, but complex in the same way that 40k terrain is complex. This is just the fluff bit of the article. First of all, the terrain is absolutely incredible. Thanks for letting us know. Like they can say, actually, we could have done a better job on this terrain, if I'm being entirely honest, guys. No, of course. Anyway, focus. It's jam-packed with surprising details, as cunning lads have used whatever. Oh my god, I'm already losing interest. Let's cut all of this out. If you want to know how they're fluffing themselves, you could go read the article, okay? First thing I do want to quickly say is, as I've been thinking about Kill Team and terrain, we've already learned, as they told us last week, that if there is a piece of terrain of a certain type in your way, you could just spend one of your circles to go over it. As we are about to find out, that is called traversing. It costs one circle, and then you don't really care about exactly how high it is. You don't have to minus it from a number of inches that you move. It's just minus one circle, you move over it. But I've been thinking about, are they going to show us the pile? Yeah, so these little piles of terrain here. And I've been thinking, oh gosh, because if you've forgotten, the LGT, London Grand Tournament is coming up soon. End of October, last weekend of October. I'm going to be TOing it. It's going to be this new Kill Team edition. Link is pinned in the top comment. So if you're in London or want to travel to London to play in one of the first ever large Kill Team tournaments, please do check that out. It's open to all. I was thinking, oh gosh, do I either need or want to deliberately avoid this kind of area terrain where you can't fit a model on top of it? It's not a simple barricade, so you can't just spend one circle to move past it. Is this actually good for the game, or is this just something they've included because they already have these on the sprue for the Orc Mech Boy workshop? So that I'm actually really glad that they've answered that. So let's pile through. So first up, we have a barricade. They can call it whatever they want. There are plenty of barricades throughout all of 40k, whether it's this little orc thing they've got here, whether it's sandbags you've made yourselves. I would also assume if it's kind of a single line of like the Wall of Martyrs set, or if it's a single line of barrels or whatever, you can traverse it. A traverse is when an operative must clear a small obstacle in their way, such as a barricade or pipe. During an operative's move, it can ascend and descend terrain with the traversable trait at a cost of circle, but cannot finish a move on top of it. If this is not possible, it cannot traverse it. It must move around it instead. Note that a traverse is not a climb. The operative simply vaults over the obstacle in their way as it moves horizontally across the kill zone. Now, I suppose the only minor questionable thing here is, if this is not possible, it cannot traverse it. So I believe what they mean there is if it is possible to finish your move on top of whatever this obstacle is, it's not traversable. You'd then have to climb. We don't know what climb is yet, but I believe that's what they mean when they say it's not possible. A final thing to remember about traverse there for one circle is that if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. Very wholesome, and in the middle of an article, no doubt. That is surprise wholesomeness. If you want a double hello in the middle of the article, no, in the next video, like, subscribe, leave a comment right now, and that can be your double pleasantry. So that's traverse. I think that's simple enough. Any sort of, half-inch or thinner obstacle, you just go over it for one circle. Also, do note, they say, unfortunately, those fairy lights offer no tactical advantage, but even an orc can appreciate it having blah, blah, blah. I suspect they might be alluding to how line of sight works. Now, we have squinted a little bit of line of sight. This might be relevant. It might mean that true, like, oh, there is half a millimeter of dust in front of you, and therefore you are obscured. Just, until they officially tell us, I'm not going to speak on it, but it's possible. The ramshackle walls, however, are surprisingly sturdy given the haphazard way orcs built their structures. The lower walls, marked as heavy terrain, are solid enough that operatives can hide behind them completely or use them as cover, much like barricades. So then we see at the top, traversable and light. So obviously we now know that traversable is a thing we can apply, light terrain, and then we also have heavy terrain, and we have vantage point. The upper deck is called a vantage point, which is a strategically important spot on a kill team battlefield. Operatives brave enough to climb up onto the rickety platform of crudely welded scrap. My gosh, so wordy. If you're on the second floor, that's what they're saying. Make it much easier to take shots at anyone hiding behind ground level cover, but exercise caution, being up so high makes your combatants a juicy target in turn. Let's read vantage point. A vantage point is a terrain feature with a vertical element, i.e. a level higher than the floor of the kill zone, that operatives can be placed upon. If a part of a terrain feature is not defined as a vantage point, operatives can climb over or traverse it, but they cannot finish a move or be set up upon it. So I suppose this is just a nice way to say you can have high terrain, but you can specifically say you cannot stay on that if you don't say it's a vantage point. This would be pretty good if you're playing against anything with fly, so harlequins and tower drones. So if there's some like weird thing that you don't want, that, you know, has a standable area, like very clearly, but you don't want anything with fly to abuse that, you could just say this isn't a vantage point. You know, and you could just classify it, not a vantage point. There you go. And then nothing can finish their turn on it. Orc vehicles guzzle fuel in alarming quantities, so crude oil pumps are a common sight among the octarius sector's many greenskin shanty towns. Not only does the platform provide canny snipers with a perfect vantage point to pick off careless enemy operatives, but it also keeps them safe among the heavy metal tanks and girders around them. Heavy terrain provides cover and is obscuring. And then, are they not going to tell us what cover and obscuring are? No. Okay. Let me read this just in case they do. No, they're not. So they haven't actually defined what cover does. They haven't defined what obscuring does. So this is part of this whole, they're drip feeding us like just little tiny bits of info that actually tell us nothing. Like, we need, don't get me wrong, this is the right way to tell us, like, this is the right way to drip the rules. Say, hey, this stuff does this, but what does this mean? Find out tomorrow, because it keeps us coming back. Whereas if it would be slightly less engaging if they just gave us like a dense article of what all the different terrain types mean, but then no examples or anything. So presumably at some point they're going to tell us both what heavy, light, cover, obscuring all actually do. And then we get these little trash piles. Scramble. An operative cannot climb over this part of the terrain feature. Instead, they must scramble over it. To do so, an operative must perform a scramble over or charge over action. Interesting. The Kill Team Octarius box contains a 22x30 game board, and there are enough terrain pieces to pack it densely. Lots of cover makes for nail-biting tactical games of Kill Team after all. If you want to use this terrain in your games of Warhammer 40k, just put two 22x30 boards together, add your orky scenery, and get ready to take the fight to your enemies. Orc collectors and hobbyists looking to expand their selection of terrain pieces will want to get their hands on Kill Team Octarius as much for the terrain as the incredible models. Probably true. Combine them with the Mech Boy Workshop and you're well on your way to a full-blown Orc scrap town. That is true, actually. I had been considering buying the Orc Mech Boy Workshop just because if you look at how dense this board is, I mean, look at that. That's crazy. Like, that's a really dense board. Like, this is a lot of terrain. This is more terrain, at least, you know, density-wise, than we got in both Warcry and in the first kill team with the Sector Imperialis ruins. This is a lot of terrain. Like, this is a really packed board. And we all said that both Warcry and the first kill team box, we all said they were great value for money because of how much terrain we got in them. I might not be particularly enamored with the Orky terrain, but this is a lot of terrain. So I'm going to say, okay, fair enough. Of course, it does depend how much it's going to cost. They could easily outprice this. Oh, guys, I really hope that they give us, like, an acceptable price. Oh, man. If they go 150 on this box, I'm going to be really disappointed. 125, I expect. I'll take 125 as a win for the Kill Team community. Like, lower would be awesome. But if they increase, like 150, if it's over 150, I probably wouldn't recommend this to people. But like, oh man. Anyway, let's not speculate on price. Let's focus. Then the final paragraph. Looking for more info about Kill Team before it goes up. Pre-order next month. Peruse the website for loads more info, including... Okay. And it doesn't tell us anywhere come back tomorrow, so maybe this is all we're going to get this month, this week. Who knows? I certainly don't. So what are we looking for from this? We are looking to get definitions of all the different types of cover. They've given us traverse, and they've given us scramble, and they've given us vantage point, but we actually still don't know what light, heavy, and just cover and obscurity actually mean yet. We've done a little bit of squinting on the Discord, but I personally don't think we've figured out quite everything and quite what everything means just yet. Fun article. I like that they are telling us, right, you have different types of cover, a little bit more in line with how 40k works, and just being able to very readily define everything on the board. I think that's a positive change, and will also make it easier to play in different kind of... I mean, just like in 40k, will make it easier to play on whatever your board is. Presumably, they are designing these rules around the idea that you have access to all of this. But many times in a game of Kill Team, I've had like a little trash pile on the floor, and I thought, you know, this is actually really awkward. I can't stand on it. It's in the way. I can't really get within an inch of it. I'd probably rather just not have it on the board. So nice that they define it for us. That's cool. This is the second video I'm putting out today. I don't know if I've put this out first or second. Let's find out. If you've stayed this far, check out my other video as well, please. And if you've made it to the end of this video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Such wholesomeness. This was at the end of the video, not the middle of it, so well done me. Are you hyped? Or are you getting bored of this drip feed? Do you just want the compendium and the core book in your hands? I kind of do, I won't lie. I am enjoying the drip feed. It is quite fun, but also it's like, ooh, how much longer is this going on? Is this going to go on like the whole of August? And we get the pre-order on like the last weekend of August? That's not cool. Like, let's speed it along a little bit. We can only take so much. Also, I'm rambling. Okay, thank you very much for coming, everybody. I hope you've had a good day. I hope you continue to have a good day. This has been Glass Half Dead. Join me soon for more. Goodbye.